Welcome back to another episode of SRQ Quilters. We have completed up the sundials and cobblestones, and now we're just kind of playing around till we get to the next one. If you would like to join us, and maybe this is the first time you've seen this video or you've seen it before and you don't know how to join it, you still have time. If you will message me through YouTube or through the SRQ Quilters Facebook page, and message, direct message. Don't put it out there as a comment, because you don't want the whole world knowing your email address. Nobody else needs your email address. Although it just seems like no matter what we do, all of our personal information is put out there, no matter how much we don't want it to. And if you want to have it removed, it costs lots of money to have your personal information removed from the internet, which is very sad. Very sad. It was kind of funny. We were just checking a phone number out and put it in, and it pulled up gobs of public information that's out there for anyone to see. And it's like, what the fudge? I can't believe that all this stuff is at the fingertips of anybody who wants to look up my phone number. So anyways, that's a little disheartening, but I hate to say it, it is what it is. The internet makes access to just about anything possible. And now with the advent of AI and its inclusion in a lot of our daily lives, and we don't even realize it. Anyways, I don't want to go there. All right. Okay, let's see. Just trying to make sure I have everybody caught up on the comments. Okay, comments look good. All right, so getting back to this, if you would like to join this this next upcoming one, it's called Around We Go. That is the quilt we're going to be working on next. And looks like it's going to run about the same, somewhere between 6, 7, 8 weeks. And each day is going to be a bite-sized portion of that quilt. And you'll be able to stay caught up very easily, because the portions, the bite-sized pieces, are small enough that you can complete them in a day. Maybe not in an hour, but you can definitely complete them in a day and then be ready for the next one. So I can't wait to get started on that. We're still in the testing phase to make sure we have all the measurements correct. So it's going to be a couple more, this week, next week, maybe even the next week. But in the meantime, we're going to play around and do some other stuff. So the whole gist behind the one we're doing now, let me come to the desktop here so you can see it. Tabletop cam, turn mine off, there we go. All right, so the whole gist of this was I was looking for a pattern that I could incorporate into a quilt for a grandchild. And it's for a female granddaughter, well, a granddaughter, and she wanted black and white. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. Not black and white, I'm sorry, black and reds. And I thought, well, I'll add a little bit of pink, because that's, still in the red line, and, some lighter colors, and maybe even a little bit of grays to kind of break it up from being just black and red. And so I was testing out some things that I thought, well, maybe I can incorporate this heart into some of the seams and create, a little girly, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. And then I got to playing around some more, and I came up with this block. Now, I'm not telling you I created this block myself, because I am sure, with as simple as it is, somebody else out there has created this block. So I'm not putting my name on this as I'm the creator. Let's just say I was playing around and came up with this. All right, if you happen to have already gotten the email for this, which I'm sure you probably did, you won't be able to get this off my Etsy page, because again, I don't feel comfortable trying to label this as something I created and put it out there to sell. This is just throwing some scraps together. So I had some, 2.5 inch or 2-inch scraps that I used to make this one. The one we're going to make is a little bit bigger. But what I was saying is if you had the instructions, you thought, well, I'll just, going by the picture, I'm just going to see if I can make it, which is great. I encourage, that kind of enthusiasm. But here's what I got to say. You probably found out after doing the first couple parts of it that it didn't quite work out the way it should have. That's okay, because there was a little part I left out. So let me move this out of the way. This one is actually smaller. It's the first one I did, but it is smaller because the strips were only 2 inches. And this may have even been only been 2 inches. I'm not sure. So it's actually smaller. It's 8 inches instead of 8.5 because the strips were only cut to 2 inches. So let's get him moved over. So now on to the ones you saw on the back. So here's the deal. Basically, we use one strip. I'm going to grab a strip of fabric here somewhere. Oh, yeah, here we go. So we have one 2.5 inch strip that we're going to use. Out of it, we're going to cut this piece. We're going to cut 2 of these pieces, 2 of these pieces. But here's the caveat. It's actually not a 2.5 inch strip that we're using. We're using a 2.25 inch strip. So before you even get started, you need to come in here and you need to trim this down to 2.25 inches. All right, let me grab my thing. Actually, here, just to be on the safe side, let's go ahead and cut off that part we need for the heart. And that part you can leave at 2.5 inches. And I think I said on the sheet to cut it 4.5 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So let's go ahead and cut that right off. All right. So here's the 2 pieces we're going to use for the heart. So let's set that aside. Now, the next 2 pieces we need to make this smaller. So I'm going to turn it around. So here's 2 inches and there's that. So it should read 2.5 inches if you're using 2.5 inch strips. If they're bigger, just as well, you still have time to cut them off. If they're smaller, as long as they're 2.25 inches, you'll be able to follow this just fine. If they're even smaller than that, you can still do it, obviously, because these were 2 inch strips. You're just going to be a little bit smaller. Okay, put that in your fabric bag to go in dog beds or wherever you use your scraps. Okay, next we're going to cut 5 inches, and I've been cutting slightly longer, just slightly longer than 5 inches. If you can see, it's coming over the edge I'm sorry, my bad finger, right over the edge there. We're going to trim that off right there, and I will press these. And then the last one we're going to cut is 8.5 inches, and it doesn't hurt to cut just a little bit extra on that one too, and you can always trim it up if you need to. And then scrap pile. Go ahead and put that in your scrap pile, your dog pile, however you do it. Okay. Now let's get the iron over here. Say my iron turned off. Yikes. Hello, Miss Jerry. Welcome. All right. I kind of like to iron my pieces just so they're nice and flat. All right, let's get my lizard out of the way. Gecko, lizard, whatever the heck he is. It's not real hot yet. As you can see, it didn't even work. I don't know why the comments do that every once in a while. Seems like it's fine one week and the next week it doesn't want to do the comments properly. I promise I did not set anything that I know of. Okay. We're going to give it a little bit of a spray because it wants to be stubborn. And yes, I'm ironing both sets at the same time. Okay, nice and flat. Okay, so these two, this is your 5 inch and this is your 8 inch, 8.5 inch. We're going to move that off to the side. This one, all right, so this is the template that I used, But I turned around and I cut my own. And this is, as you can tell, just leftover mat board. If you cut this, make sure you use a utility scissors to cut this, because it's pretty tough to cut, which is supposed to be. So you can just trace it onto cardboard. You can trace, onto whatever you need to use it for. I did send a copy of a heart pattern so that you can do the cuts, okay? So let's just put this right here. You're going to need either a white one for those dark fabrics, because yes, I did run into some dark fabrics, or you can use this one, which is the Frisian, which marks really well on colors. Now, because this is out on the edge, you really don't have to worry about the bleeding or the other stuff that comes with. Here, let's turn this over. That may not help either. We'll find out. Yeah, it looks like it's moving anyways. And then you're just going to trace it on. You can use your rotary cutter, but I found that I have a harder time trying to control that little Mustang beast. Acts like a Mustang. It wants to giddy up and go off of my fabric. So I just went ahead and drew the line. And then to keep them from separating, I just use a couple pins. There's that one, and then there's that one. Okay. Next thing we can do, take your scissors, and you can cut right on the line, right under the line. It really doesn't matter. We're not going for complete accuracy. You just want to try and get that nice, get that nice curve in there. And if you have a different heart that you would like to use it. Some of those hearts are really cute, bubbly kind of looking, or, just make sure that they fit in the base fabric you're going to be using. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to need is our dryer sheet. Now you can use another piece of fabric, it doesn't matter, but this is just going to make this applique thing a little bit easier. So here's what I do. This one is really wrinkly. Oh, and it smells so good. When you iron these things, they smell so good. As you can see, just a quick iron over the top of it. It doesn't melt, at least these don't. I think these are, I want to say, downy sheets. I try to stick to the same sheets just so that everything is consistent, because I use these also for my scrappy strip piece as foundation pieces. All right. So as you can see, it irons out really, really nicely. All I do is fold it over one time like this and trim it down. Trim it in half. Again, not super accurate. Doesn't need to be. And then I trim it one time like this. See? Now you have 4 pieces. That's enough to do 2 blocks. Okay, so let's set this one off to the side. You're going to want to set your fabrics on top, right sides together. Set them anywhere you want to. If you're going to want to go right up to the edge, go up to the edge, but I like to give myself a little bit of space. And I do it here and here. I need 2 more pieces.
Mom, I see nothing in there, Mom.
So I thought that looked awfully bright. Ah, they're both the same color. Oops. I didn't realize they were right side up. How did that one do that? Huh. Okay. We're going to have an odd looking heart. That's okay. Actually, you know what? I think I have a little bit of extra fabric here. Yeah, I do. We'll just swap it out. There we go. I did them both the same. Okay, so this one goes this way, this one goes this way. Okay, all right, I'm straight. I'm straight now. There we go. I'm going to leave these two pieces together just like this, since it's kind of a happy accident. Okay, where'd my other one go? And again, I just don't want these to move around while I'm trying to sew them. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, let's see. Okay, now we're going to come over here. Gotta make sure my thread catches it. And we're just going to start and go, and I'm just trying to pull it around. If you let the feed dogs help you pull it, it makes a smoother curve as opposed to lifting the foot and turning it. Because when you do that, it creates like a little crease or point, and it really helps if you just let the machine do it. Okay, let's cut that one. And then we're going to do the next one. And I'm going to move this pin. The straightaways are easy. Go slow, let the feed dogs do the work. You just have to pull and turn it. All right. That part's over. The hard part's over. To me, that's the hard part. You may not think so when we go to the next step, but let's go play. Okay. Yes, right side down to fabric sheets. Right side down to fabric sheets. Right side, wrong side. I know it's so bright. Why is it so bright? Okay. Now you have your two halves of the heart, and you just want to make sure they're both going in the opposite directions. Okay? Let's pull those up a little bit. Make sure they're going in opposite directions. One's going this way, one's going this way, and they're both wrong side up. Right side to the dryer sheet. And again, you can use a dryer sheet. You could use, maybe have some muslin, something left over, you know. And then you're just going to trim it right down close to the heart. And what I've been doing is just leaving a little bit of the dryer sheet right along there. The other thing I do is, I don't know if you can see it, right here is where my stitching stopped. So that's my stitching right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create that little back cut. And I'm going to trim it in a V, just like that. Can you see it? So there's that, and I just trimmed up this way. And what that's going to do is when we turn it inside out, you're not going to have that tail, that dog ear sticking out. Okay? And then let's do the same thing for this one. And then I'm going to show you where that's where my stitching ends. And then I'm going to trim it this way. And then I'm going to trim off and leave just a little bit of that, just a little bit of the dryer sheet out. Now when I've done this one where I've clipped the edges, and I've done it where I haven't clipped the edges. And believe it or not, I think I like it better when I don't clip the edges. All right, now we're going to take it and we're just going to turn it right side out. Grab your favorite turning tool. Right now, mine is not here. It goes here. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is and it's better if you leave the cover on because you're going to be handling this if you decide to use something like this. But I like to use the back side for a turning tool on something like this because it's got that nice curve, so it'll help to push that curve out. And if you can see it, I'm just pushing my edge out and creating a nice roundness. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. This is just scrappy. You can use your iron, your wood iron. Okay, put this in your scrap file. Bring your iron over. And you want to try and make sure that that dryer sheet stays underneath there. The last one I did without clipping it, it actually looked pretty good. But let's try it clipped. Okay. And we're going to flip that out. I don't know, kind of looks better. Oh, y'all, it seems like it just changes from 1 second to the next. And don't push too hard, because like most things, you push it too hard, you're going to go right through the dryer sheet. But it's a good way to use up those dryer sheets. You know, reuse, reduce, reuse. Reduce, recycle, reuse, however that works. Okay. Now let's put the right sides together. Try and match your top point. I need 2 more pins. Match your top point with your bottom. Oh, these match up really good. Some of them are pretty off on mine. And you know what? I don't care. It's a scrappy quilt, and I like it. All right, let me find, where did I put, oh, there they are. Okay, so here's my base. Here's my background fabric. And as you can see, I made sure I have lots of background fabric available, just in case I decide to make this quilt a full out quilt on this. What we have here are, you're going to need 2 pieces. These are 2 3/4 by 5, if I remember correctly. Let me look. No, actually they're 2 7/8. It says they're 2 7/8. No wonder they're a little bit big. Okay. Forget I just said that. You want to kind of eyeball it from here to here because of your 1/4 inch seam and kind of see if you got it even. Okay, you can measure it if you want to. This is scrappy, so I am just slapping it on there. Just slapping away. Okay, we're going to put this here, and then we're going to try and keep it straight. Keep it straight, y'all. All right, move the iron, move the camera. We're going to take it and stitch it down. All the way in. There we go. All right. Any questions so far? Still trying to get used to this. I have this. The monitors are still backwards, which I'm trying to get used to because I want it to be like that. So I just got to try and get used to it. Okay. So here we have it. We're going to open this up just like this. Now one of the things I do is I just go ahead and iron it flat like this, and then flip it over so that both pieces are out, and then I try to separate it. This is where your seam pressing bar would come in very handy. Very handy. Fortunately, this isn't very far down there. And if you had Miss Sheila's iron, you wouldn't be able to get your fingers even close to that iron. I think I scalded my fingers the other day like twice trying to hold something close till I remembered she had little finger protectors. All right. Now we have our cute little heart right there smack dab in the middle. Isn't it adorable? This cute little old pink thing. Okay, let's take it over here. And we're going to take it back to here. Now here's where you're going to do your favorite applique. My favorite applique method is the plain old stitch down. And again, you're just going to pull it. And I try to get as close to the edge as I can. I know it's hard for you to see because my camera's in a weird place. Great if you're looking at the overall stitch, but hard when there's something in the foot that you want to see. All right, so I've got my foot up, I've turned it, and I'm going to go back up the other side. And again, I'm going to try and stay as close to that edge as I can because that's the way I like to do my applique. And the reason I did the dryer sheet on the back is so that I had a nice finished edge to work with instead of trying to flip and iron and baste it down and all that stuff, which there ain't nothing wrong with that. But you can use a blanket stitch, you can use a satin stitch, you know, whatever your embroidery favorite is, that's what you should use. All right, let's take a look. Where did my camera go? Here it is. There we go. All right, and let me trim that off. And there we have a beautiful heart that it has been embroidered down with a straight stitch. Not too bad, huh? A little crooked over here. And that was the one where we didn't snip it. Here's where we did snip it. So I guess if you compare this to this, snipped looks better than not snipped. Although the last one I did not look like that. So I don't know. Go figure. Always something, right? Okay. This block is almost complete. So let's go ahead and finish it up. Let's bring it down the home stretch. This would be such a darling baby quilt or young teenager quilt. Need 2 more pins. Actually, I have not been pinning. I've just been taking it over and putting it on there. So I'm going to grab this other one and we're just going to take it over. Okay. Which, by the way, I'm putting it top and bottom first, but it should be the same no matter which side you go to. What size is the background fabric for the heart? These are 2 7/8 each by 5 inches. Okay, so when you put it together this way to this way, it should wind up being about 5 inches. And when you do this way to this way, it should be 5 inches. Let's see. Let's see. Yep, 5 inches this way. And 5 inches this way. Okay, so I believe I have 2 7/8. Yeah, just shy of 2 7/8. I'm pretty sure you can do 2 3/4, and you will find that it will do just fine. All right, so I trimmed that one down. Let's go right off there. And then we're going to turn it around, right side, wrong side. And we're going to put it down. Now, as you notice, there's a little bit extra here and here, and I think that's why the 2 7/8 is probably not the best measurement for that. Like I said, I don't know how I came up with 2 7/8, but I did. That's what I cut my background to. Okay, and then there's those, and then we're going to open those up and iron them open. Here, let me turn this way. There. But everything else will fall right into line. Just get that fabric right in between that, and you'll find it'll work out great. Okay, let's come on over here and move the camera. We're going to iron that one down there, iron that one down there. I probably should have picked a darker color for this. It might have turned out better as far as the cameras, that is. Okay, so wrong side, right side. We're going to put right side down on one side, and we're going to take the other one with us when we go. And let's head over here. I'm using the edge of the of this fabric and lining it up. Then I'm going to flip it around. Now the other one, we got right side, wrong side. So right side down, wrong side up. Go up to the edge. And if you need to, if you have to trim them down a little bit, trim them down a little bit. If your size is slightly off, just make them all the same size. This is just a scrappy one. And there we go. All right, let's come over to this one. All right. The key to it is if you're trying to get the 8.5-inch block that I have here, which would give you 8-inch finished when you put it in the quilt. If you're trying to get the 8-inch block, then you need to trim those 2.5-inch strips down to 2.25 inches. Remember that, 2.25 inches. Once you do that, then you can trim off all the other extra stuff. All right, so here we have our really cute scrappy heart block. And it doesn't even look all that scrappy, does it? Well, except for that part right there. Okay, so let me show you. Do we have any questions? Sorry about that. Do we have any questions so far? These are just pieces that I had left over. Maybe it was fabric that I had several pieces, so I would trim them all to 2.5, and then I stick them in a bag. My bag is huge. I will show it to you later. Here's another one that I did previously. I just did that one last night. I was playing around last night, and it's the same one, just the applique around the edge, and that part right there. So, but let me show you. Here's one I did. Sorry, lint. Here's one I did where what I did was I put this on the fold. Now, it's of course a much bigger piece of fabric, but I put this on the fold and then, trimmed around it and did a whole heart. And then when I did the dryer sheet, which I have around here somewhere, and if you'd like, I can demonstrate that part really quickly, because somewhere around here I actually have a piece ready to go. Somewhere. Where to go? It's down here. I see it. All right, hang on. All right. So I have my dryer sheet. And again, I just put it right here. and I trimmed it out, and then I placed them together on my machine, stitched all the way around it, and then cut a slit on the back side, turned it right side out, pushed out my corner, all my edges, which I forgot to trim them down. But what I did do is I snipped here and I clipped off the end close to the seam here, and that gave me a nice point here and a nice little V there. Just so if you remember, just snip there, snip that part there, and clip it there. And then I ironed it down, made it nice and flat, stitched these two together, was able to use the line to show me where to line it up, and then I stitched it down, and then did this and this. Okay. Now the other thing I did when I was playing around, and kind of did a faux trapunto. Now I don't know if you can see this, but this little bad boy has a little bit of pump to it. Isn't that cute? And I used just a little bit of filler. I didn't put a whole lot in there because, I stitched the edge down once I put it in there, and so I didn't want a whole lot of filling in there. This is that dry fiber fill or whatever they call that stuff. Excuse me. And so I put just a little bit in there, stitched it down, put a little bit on this side, stitched it down, put them together, stitched it down, and then put it in between the two fabrics. So I actually did a lot of stitching before I put it together. But it was kind of cute, and it would be neat to add a piece or two like this into any quilt. It would just be, downright adorable. All right, does anybody have any questions? Do you want me to demonstrate how I did the whole one with making the slit in the back? I'm happy to do that. But basically, we're done. Okay. Yes, it actually is. I think that's what they were talking about, was doing it for labels. I think that's a fabulous idea. It sure does beat trying to iron over those edges and trying to keep them from flopping up on you. So there's another heart I have ready to go. Does anybody have any questions before we move on? So if you make the one piece, then you should be able to make your background a 5-inch square, right? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I thought about doing that. Let me come back here. Okay, I thought about doing that by making a 5-inch square for this particular block, But since I already had these pieces cut, I thought, well, what the heck, if I stitch that seam down, then it gives me a perfect center line for me to line up that heart so that it's not kind of off kilter. Now, if you did it off kilter, would it look bad? No, I think it would look great. I think that's just a whole nother thing that you can do, with that quilt block by making it your own. The other thing is just imagine what you could do with this if you did some embroidery on the heart or even on the outside. I mean, imagine this if you had some of those bright colors and you did all your blocks, in these dark colors, and you did some like vines and leaves on here, or some flowers or something, or even a nice little teddy bear in that heart, especially with this black. Oh my gosh, it would look amazing, just amazing. Still work really good with the purples, but the black, I love that, the black colors, and it just helps to contrast the quilts so much. I really enjoy that. Anyways, okay. Any other questions? I am open to questions. Put lights around them. Yeah, absolutely. Checking it. So here, behind me, this way. Okay. So behind me, you see some of the blocks that I've already completed with the 2 1/4 inch piece that I trimmed off of the strip. So you're still using the strip, and if you followed me on the oh gosh, I don't even remember what we called it, Scrappy Happy quilt that I originally started with my the original COVID. It was all using jelly rolls, and what we did is we would, not lights, lace, yes, lace would be good. I was wondering what you were talking about. I thought lights as in light colors, but no, lace would be cool. Lace would be awesome. So the first COVID quilt that we started with was all jelly rolls, and when we cut, we didn't leave necessarily all of these 2 1/2 inch strips at 2 1/2 inches. We cut off what we needed to make that quilt. You can go through any of the videos for the Scrappy Happy. Again, I don't even remember what I called it back then, but we had like 20 different videos. There were 20 different blocks that we did, and they were all different, but they all had to deal with jelly rolls. And I wound up using 1 full jelly roll plus some from another jelly roll, so I was kind of glad I actually had extra. And I wound up making two twin size quilts for my granddaughters. Then I only had 2, now I have 3. How close would you sew from edge of heart before you turn the half heart? I did all of the stitches at 1/4 inch and then flipped it inside out. Is that the question, Miss Laura? I just want to make sure I have the question right. And then when I stitch around the applique part, I try to catch just the very, very edge. And as you see, I'm not perfect at it, but for me it's good. It's a scrappy quilt. It's meant to be scrappy. Okay. Yep. So when I do the seam, I don't think I have an extra one here that I've already stitched. It's only 1/4 inch. It's 1/4 inch. That's what I use. 1/4 inch from the edge. Here. I don't know if you can see it very good because it's all turned right side out. Hang on. I can get it. I promise. Okay. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for 1/4 inch seam on that all the way around. I don't want to go less than that because, again, I'm worried that the dryer sheet will give way. Even though it's, again, a sturdy piece of, foundation type fabric, it's still something that you want to be wary of. Because I did actually send even this nice rounded end, I did actually send this right through the dryer sheet. So when I try to do the smoothing, I try to hook it in under the fabric. I try to hook it under the fabric and go around just on the fabric, in the fold of the fabric, and try to avoid putting it on the dryer sheet. So hook it underneath, not on the dryer sheet, if that helps at all. Anyway, so these are all colors, sorry, wrong one. These are all fabrics that I had cut and stored from my scrappy ones. Let me show you my bag of scrappy. Scrappy 2.5-inch strips. So this is my bag of scrappy 2.5-inch strips. And I have a lot of them. Some of them are a little bit wider, and there may even be some that are a little bit narrower. But pretty much this is my 2.5-inch strip bag. So all my leftovers wind up in here because I keep thinking, oh, someday I'll make a quilt from that. Well, guess what? I finally found someday. All right. Do we have any other questions? Anything else you'd like to know? Okay. Remember to, if you're on Facebook, remember to follow on Facebook. Remember to also like, send love and hearts and thumbs up and fun things like that. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. The more you subscribe, the more I can keep this content going. I know it seems like some of it's pretty untested. And you know what? Sometimes that's what's fun about it, is getting to see some of this stuff kind of develop right in front of your eyes. So, yes, I've only been out there for a couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and not consistently. But I am working really hard to make this work. So if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and don't forget to hit the notification button so you'll know when I go on. Right now, it's pretty steady at 4 o'clock on Sundays. And by the time I get it posted to YouTube, it's usually about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on Monday a.m. So please feel free to watch it. Don't forget, hit that thumbs up, give me a like, and subscribe, because I need your help making this work. You guys have been fabulous. I have so enjoyed this last quilt. I'm looking forward to the next one. Again, it's called Around We Go. It'll start in a couple weeks. If you are not on the email list to get the free pattern, for me to send it to you weekly, remember to send me a message, direct message me, send me a message, let me know what your email is, give me your name so I can put an email with a name, and I will happily add you to the list of people who get the pattern for free. If not, if you don't make it on by the time we start, that's okay too, because I will put these on my Etsy shop, which is srqquilter.etsy.com, and I will put that on there each week. You'll get the pattern. You can purchase the pattern for just a small fee, which again helps me to keep the content coming. And hopefully I will see you next week. It is just about prayer time, so that's just your kind of like 1-second warning there, all right? Because we're fixing to do prayer time. You do not have to listen to prayer time. You're welcome to turn me off right now. But right now we're going to do that. It's been an interesting week. Father, I just thank you so much. I can't give you enough props for all the things you've done in our lives. We've gone through hard times. We've come out the other side, Father. You've given us strength. You've bolstered us. You've pushed us. You've given us a reason to go each day the next day. Each day, one breath in, one breath out, one breath in, one breath out. Father, we just thank you for giving our lives purpose and meaning, for showing us the love, the compassion. And we just ask that you help us to give that forward, pay that forward to the next person, Father. Let us share your love, your word, your gospel. And I just give you all the honor and praise. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Listen, y'all, thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end. I have seen your quilts. I have seen what you've done. I've posted them. Remember to keep posting them to me. Get them to me so I can put them on my page. I sure appreciate it. You guys have been fantastic, and just the colors and the ability that you guys have has just blown me away. And I'm so grateful that you walk through this with me every single week. You guys are amazing, and I think the world of you, and I love you guys so much. You guys take care, and I will see you next Sunday.